Thank you, Jess. The golden hour not too far away here at Perth's Barbagallo Raceway, the Pertec Perth Super Night event. We're getting set for race number 2 of the historic touring cars on the circuit. A grid of over 30 cars. Andy Jones alongside me. Great race in race number 1. For some, it was a matter of keeping control of their high horsepower machines. Yeah, there was plenty of sideways action earlier today, wasn't there? And I'm sure that won't be the last we'll see of that when it comes to historic touring car racing. Looked like the marshal at the end of the pit lane there was about to do a big group hug on this grid as it drove out, but he was actually stopping them from entering the circuit. Wishing him all the best, perhaps. The night lights, all 41 towers. We've got 5 stadium light towers around the complex as well that will light up this 2.4 kilometre circuit at Barbagallo Raceway. Hasn't taken the boys long to get some of that rear end oversteer that we were talking about going on. As soon as they come out, wide open throttle, cold tyres, trying to get some heat in and rear the car dancing around. And what will happen now is the temperature will really drop off in the next 1 to 2 hours. We're under 2.5 hours before the race here tonight, the Pertec Perth Super Night Race. There are some of those stadium lights we talked about, and there's that old commentary box I talked about, the yellow cat tower at the top of the hill. Progressive grid for race number 2 of the historic touring cars with a Dunlop curb cam. Aldo Di Paoli starts from pole position for this one. Greg Freeman joins him once again. Graham Woolhouse and Brian Bondi on the second row. Back to John Bondi in 5th. Ken Badger in 6th. Down to Conno Onofaro, the first of the minis, starting out of position number 10. They were quite entertaining in race number 1. Stuart Young starts out of position number 12. Thierry Michaud starts out of 15. Laurie Latsley in the Jag starts out of 18. And Randall Beaver starting out of position number 20. We go down to Gallagher in 23rd. Michael Rowe in 26. Ken Waller in your favourite car of the weekend so far, the Volvo, starting out of 29. Back to Robert O'Neill, who stopped during qualifying yesterday, starting from 31st position on the grid. The view from the Avis drone cam, heading down the long but very downhill back straight, one of the fastest straights in Australian motorsport. And for anybody that's following at home, that battle between Thierry Michaud and Stannard, Thierry in the Corvette and Stannard in the little Mini, it went in favour of Michaud for that round. It was at one point there where Stannard was ahead of him, and that was a cracking little battle. We talked about that during the race, didn't we? How these cars, like the Corvettes, for example, pulling away from the Minis and they get them back across the top of the hill. But with these two guys, we'll keep an eye on once again. Freeman and Di Paoli. Freeman missed out by half a second. He was benefited by the fact we had that lap traffic on the final lap, didn't we, down towards the basin? He was coming at him, though. Aldo Di Paoli, he actually had a 2.5+ second gap at one point, and it was slowly edging back in favour of Freeman towards before they came across that traffic. So interesting to see how this one plays out. Kids settling in for a big afternoon as we enter the early evening here soon at Barbagallo Raceway. We had practice under lights last night. Let's get the feeling in for something very special here. We get to do it again tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Another 200-kilometre race, 83 laps of the Virgin Australia Supercars, waiting for the green flag in the middle of the field here from one of our many volunteer marshals at the Pertec Perth Super Night Race. 10 laps will be the distance. We've got some shadows forming on pit straight. And we are set for blast off in race number 2. The historic touring cars, the grid that stretches around turn number 7. We bring the revs up. There's a bit of a creep from our pole man, but we're underway in race number 2. Bondi with plenty of pace, but nowhere to go. He might get second position if he hangs tough on the inside. Camaro hanging on the outside here right now, but expect that HQ to put up the elbows. He's sliding again. It's pretty standard. Almost slides himself out of contention, and he'll lose the position in the process. I was concerned there because from what we've seen, Bondi in that Monaro, as soon as he cracks the throttle, the rear steps out. There wasn't enough margin between him and Freeman to be able to deal with that. I thought Bondi was going to make contact with Freeman for sure. Not sure exactly how they didn't, other than Bondi taking to the inside sand trap on the exit of turn 1. Very unorthodox. And not a mark on either car, which is a relief for car lovers right around the country right now. This Badger down the inside with one of the Toranas running wide through the basin and across the top of the hill for the first of 10 laps. Watch the Falcon just disappear down the hill as Di Paoli doesn't have the margin that he had, but he's copped a 5-second penalty, so they've added some time for jumping the start there. So your race leader needs to start putting the margin if he wants to win this race. And it's very clear cut. There is a judge of fact for every row of the grid, and basically their job is to sit there and watch the cars and make sure that nobody gets an advantage off the start. And unfortunately for Aldo, he's been deemed to have jumped that start. The rule does say if you move, you have the ability to stop
before the light goes out, as long as your wheels are parked inside your starter's box. So we'll wait till we see a replay of that. But regardless of how it all played out, the penalty's been handed out, and there will be a 5-second penalty.
Scott Mackey going through the shot up towards turn number 4. Here's the leaders down into the basin. So Di Paoli needs to hit the go button, and I think he's doing that now. Placed down some rubber on the exit of turn number 6. Freeman just needs to stay there now. We'll take a look at the replay of the start in just a few moments' time. This is how it went. Watch left-hand side. Hard to tell when we don't have the lights there at the same time. It looked different from the high above shot.
Yeah, for me, that was really hard to pick. I'm glad I'm not the judge of fact. This one might do. So it's because he's slowly rolling and the wheel is rotating. So from this front-on shot, it doesn't show it clearly. But the previous angle we saw where we were sitting directly beside Aldo Di Paoli's car, you could see the wheel was just ever so slightly turning. And that's enough for the judge of fact to determine that there was an advantage. And unfortunately, 5 seconds is going his way at the end of this race. Now, the question will be, can he pull a 5-second margin on Freeman? And we know he's fast early. It'll just be, and there's that moment that I spoke about with Bondi going off into the sand trap, kicking up a little plume of dust.
He was sideways mid-turn.
He's on the throttle now. The car steps out. Thankfully, Freeman's gone, I'm going to give him some room here. And then, boom, like a magic show.
It's very lucky not to spit him.
Dust.
Very lucky not to spit him out the other side. We'll take a look at another replay of the start, this time with the light gantry. Watch the left-hand side. Just really hard. I did pick it, but maybe they spoke too soon. Oh, Laurie Lapsley has stopped here in the Jaguar. A little early to be stopping in the race. Up the top of turn number 3 on lap number 4. Don't know if that's out of harm's way enough. And Di Paoli is cruising. Our race leader is dropping down the order and limping towards the pits, hand out the window. And the safety car has been called. What has gone on with our race leader? It puts Freeman to the top. He's limping back towards the pits and straight back into the paddock. Di Paoli's day is done. The second of the Jags off the circuit now. And a long way off, as a matter of fact. So they'll slow this field down now. The Vodafone Mustang safety car will come out. The race leader, former race leader, is heading back to the paddock. What has gone on with that 96 machine?
Yeah, so he hasn't even come into the pit lane. He's just turned hard left, gone up out the back, which was the image that we just saw. Suggests that he's headed straight towards the paddock. Now, whether or not he's got a mechanical issue of some description, we don't know. Kylie King's been doing a great job all weekend in the support categories, finding out when we have incidents. So I'm sure she'll be busily running out to keep us up to date with what's happening with that car. But the other question mark here is that we've lost both Jaguars in unison at different parts of the circuit.
I was trying to pick out where that was. It was on the exit of turn 6 at the top of the hill, just where the gum trees are on the left-hand side. So both Jags are parked up for a Friday afternoon and out of this race. So Freeman, Bondi in second, Woolhouse third, and John Bondi in fourth. He's carrying our in-car camera. Ken Badger in fifth, Gilfus in sixth, back to Hepburn. Grant Johnson in the field in 8th position. Little mini now, Onofaro runs in 9th position, and Behetz runs in 10th. As we're under the safety car conditions here at Barbagallo Raceway. Race 2 of the historic touring cars. They'll have 4 races, another 2 to come tomorrow afternoon. So take a look once again to the Avis drone cam. Shows you where you are. We're 50 k's to the north of Perth's main city. And we'll let this field cruise around right now and head down to the pits of Rihanna.
Nick Perkett, when I spoke to you earlier this morning, you said you'd had to throw the entire kitchen sink at the car to get it to grip up. P7 in qualifying, not too bad.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, we sat that last run out, so we're sitting 4th, I think. And yeah, to be honest, I think if we ran another set of tyres, I comfortably would have went quicker because I made a few little mistakes, but it was a little bit of how much tyre do you want to throw at it to start maybe 2 positions further up. So we opted to save a set of tyres. Gives us a better tyre bank for tomorrow's practice and qualifying. So yeah, we're thinking a bit more long game there because the car's obviously good, and I think I comfortably could have rolled a 53.1, I think, and I did a 53.3. So just a little bit messy at 1, and then a little bit too much curb at 5 there. So overall, it's quite good, and obviously good to have Slady. You know, they bolt the setup in, and away we go, and have 2 cars up the front, and keep ticking off those points for the teams, and keeps Brad happy. So keep going.
Given how different the conditions are at the moment. It's pretty hot out there. We're obviously going night racing. How much will you have to change to adapt to those conditions?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to just keep putting setup tools into the car that loads the tyre harder. So generate more heat into the tyre to make them actually work and create grip. So that's what happened to us last night. The tyre wasn't heating up effectively. We weren't getting any grip. So we completely turned the car on its head and just done everything we can to be quite aggressive on the tyre, which is it's a risky spot because obviously you don't want to blow a tyre in the race. So hopefully we haven't gone too far and we'll see how we go.
Look forward to it. Good luck.
Good. Thank you.
They're really having a great season, Brad Jones Racing this year in the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship, thanks to Rihanna with Nick Percat down in the pits. The good news is the Vodafone safety car is heading back into the pits, and a new race leader will lead us around the halfway distance mark. Greg Freeman, who started from pole position from the front row yesterday after qualifying, will lead us back around. Gee, they're a bit strung out the back there, Andy.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here, Nolts, but that's the most unorthodox safety car restart I've seen in a long time. There was guys spread out a long way up the hill, so not 100% sure what was going on, whether or not that was something that was a conscious decision by the driver group to just settle back into a rhythm here and not really worry too much about where they were going. But the top 5 all went together, and then there was a bit of a gap back to everybody else. A bit bizarre.
Now, across the top of turn number 5, Bondi going through the shutter saw, Tony Gilfus going through in the Capri, the red Capri, car 50, sliding across the top of the Dunlop curb cam. Faro coming through in the minis. Down to turn number 6 we go. Still the mystery on what happened to Aldo Di Paoli. That car was a jet up until the time the safety car came out.
We're seeing Faro there in the first of the minis, currently running in 9th position. That's a terrific effort. We have lost a couple of cars ahead of him, but still, to be in the top 10 on a circuit like this, it obviously is going to help if you've got plenty of horsepower, which that Mini doesn't, in case anyone's wondering.
Just clear that one up.
Yeah, that's a very, very cool effort. He'll be having a ball. A little bit of smoke coming out.
That's Badger.
It's Badger again. I was just trying to see where that smoke is coming from. It's not the first time we've seen smoke out of that car this weekend. Looks like it's coming from the left rear now, though. Whereas in the earlier run today, it looked like it was more out of the right-hand side.
See Bondi ahead. He had a massive moment once again. So in the straight line speed of this car.
Are you surprised by that?
No. That was just a bigger one than most of the ones he's done through 5 today. So whatever it is to Badger, it's not hurting him on the straights. It's through the turns where it's really smoky. Watch it clear itself across the top of the hill here. So it's turn 1 and turn 6 where it really showed, but he's made up a position and now runs in 3rd.
And on the downshift. So looks like we're going to have a replay here of John Bondi. That is a Scandinavian flick. That is going from one side of the road at opposite lock, coming up the hill. The car's turning to the left. He's got steering input to the right. And then he's just about to come to another corner that's the complete opposite way. That was very nicely done.
Sleep well tonight. He's been really busy. And again, Badger was sideways coming out of turn number 1 as well.
They might need to replace the lube in the bearing in the steering column of Bondi's car, because it's going to be heating up in there, the amount of wheel work that he's got going on. Exceptionally
busy behind the wheel. He runs in 2nd and in fact challenging for the lead for a moment, but he's dropped away to 1.5 seconds while we watch the battle 3rd, 4th and 5th. Down at turn number 6, in car with John Bondi on the exit of the basin. And now Woolhouse looking to make the move or repay the favour on Badger. He pulls out side by side. We're in the box seat, in car with Bondi. Down the long back straight.
And what you can see on the windscreen there, just in front of Bondi's helmet peak, is all those little, well, let's call them flickers. See, as we go through the light there, you can see it. And now that the sun's not shining on it, looks really clear. Where I'm going with all of this is that it's actually oil coming out of the back of Badger's car, and it's spraying itself on the windscreen of those guys. So it suggests to me that there's a lot coming out. I can't help but feel like that's going to cause an issue at some stage here.
This is maybe why the 59 is struggling down the bottom turn here of Hepburn. Dropped a couple of positions in the process. We're on the last lap. We're going 1 lap short now.
Doesn't look like it's enough to be actually dropping onto the circuit, but it's clearly enough to be spraying up in the air. And impeding the vision of those guys behind Badger, which is why Woolhouse was in such a hurry to get by him.
Here comes Freeman with an open face helmet, heading down the back straight, plunges towards turn number 7. Ryan Bondi runs in second place and has the fastest lap of the race here today, 106.15. But Freeman inheriting the lead. And the bad luck to Aldo Di Paoli will win race number 2. We've gone 1 lap short. And again, Bondi almost loses on the final turn, but Freeman picks up the win. Still on for the minor positions here. Badger will have to settle for 4th behind Woolhouse in race number 2 here today. And the Mini, getting another top 10 result. The XU1 at the back almost reversed it across the finish line.
Just following suit with Brian Bondi.
It's a new craze sweeping the racetrack today. And the Tyrannus coming in just outside the top 10. It's on here between the Mustang. Down to the final turn. Randall Beavis. Peter Dick and Thierry Michaud still yet to come across the line. We lost both the Jags within about half a lap of each other in this race. And our then race leader, Aldo Di Paoli, who went straight back into the paddock at the end of race number 2. Turned on the action here this weekend. The historic touring cars supporting the Perth Super Night event. And the win going to Greg Freeman here today in race number 2 by 1.4 seconds. Brian Bondi in second, Graham Woolhouse in third, back to Badger. John Bondi in 5th, Gilfus back in 6th, back to Jones, Hepburn, Onofaro, and Donna Betts running out the top 10 in race number 2 here today. Looking down the field to Robert Pocklitz in 12th place, Lance Stannard in 14th, Thierry Michaud in 17th, and Graham Craig rounding out the top 20, but almost a minute behind. Even with that restart we had just before, Trevor Fairs, Dean Wisson, Willem Schipper back in 23rd place, and Ken Waller back in 26th, and a list of DNFs in this race. And there is the winner. Greg Freeman heading back towards the pits, and race number 2 is done here today. Well, what a beautiful place Perth is. Stunning beaches, magnificent sunsets, and absolutely mad motorsport fans. So we sent Greg Murphy out to one of the driver autograph sessions in the city to chat to the locals and their supercar heroes.
The Supercars Circus loves coming across to the west coast of Australia, to Perth. What a wonderful city it is, and we are right there in the heart of it at the moment with drivers and the fans getting together to discuss the Perth Super Night. I'm wondering why Lachlan here has only got Mark Scaife and Todd Kelly's signatures, and that's from quite a while ago. When are you going to update your merch, mate?
I always wanted Scaife signature, but I could never get around to you, Murph.
Why? Because I was always so popular and so busy.
Yeah, basically.
Well, one guy who knows how to win a race in the dark is Shane Van Gisbergen. You've got to be pretty excited about getting another crack at it here in Perth.
Yeah. I'm more excited about the new surface. You come and drive here at 20% normally, trying to save the tyres, and new surface, cold temp, should be able to drive flat out the whole way. So that's what I'm more looking forward to.
Anton Di Pasquale, Penrith Racing have gone a bit Tokyo drift on the race cars, have you?
Yeah, it's got a bit of Jap car style, but we've got a few neons and some reflectors on the cars, so a little bit more than what we did last year. I think we sort of worked out what it's all about and spiced it up a bit.
What do you reckon about the whole night concept, guys?
I reckon it's great.
Yep.
I think it's going to be an absolute awesome concept for Perth. I hope it gets a lot more people out there to watch it.
Got a favourite spot that you like to go and watch from?
I like the top hill, just before you come around the bottom bend and then you go through the zigzag up the top.
A couple of decent fans here. Hold up the Kiwi flags this weekend.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Go this show, boys.
Looks like you've actually gone and groomed yourself for this weekend. What's with that? I sort of like the ragged hair and the eyes look, personally.
I don't know. Well, actually, I look up to you as my idol, and, seeing how cleanly cut you are all the time, I thought, maybe I took a leaf out of the Greg Murphy book of legends. They're over here.